Good evening, my friends. I am using the Amplified Holy Bible and the Navigator's Bible reading plan to share the Word of God with you. I am still working on month 3, reading 21D, and I'm going to share chapter 24 in the book of Deuteronomy. It starts out with the law of divorce, and it says, when a man takes a wife and marries her, and it happens that she loses his favor because he has found something indecent or unacceptable about her, and he writes her a certificate of divorce, puts it in her hand, and sends her out of his house. Where it says loses his favor. Other literature has finds no favor in his eyes. Alright, verse 2. And after she leaves his house, she goes and becomes another man's wife. And if the latter husband turns against her and writes her a certificate of divorce, puts it in her hand, and sends her out of his house, or if the latter husband dies who took her as his wife, in verse 3 where it says turns against her, other literature has the word hates. Alright, verse 4. Then her former husband who first sent her away may not take her again as his wife, since she has been defiled. For that is an outrage before the Lord. And you shall not bring sin on the land which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance. When a man takes a new wife, he shall not go out to fight with the army, nor be charged with any duty. He shall be free at home for 1 year, and shall bring happiness to his wife, whom he has taken. All right, Deuteronomy chapter 24, starting with verse 6. The title is Various Laws, and it says, no one shall take a hand mill or an upper millstone used to grind grain into bread as security for a debt, for he would be taking a person's life in pledge. If a man is caught kidnapping any of his countrymen from the sons of Israel, and he treats him violently or sells him as a slave, then that thief shall die. So you shall remove the evil from among you. Be careful during an outbreak of leprosy that you diligently observe and do according to all that the Levitical priests teach you. Just as I have commanded them, so you shall be careful to do. Check out Leviticus chapter 13, verses 14 and 15. Verse 9. Remember with thoughtful concern what the Lord your God did to Miriam on the road as you came out of Egypt. Check out Numbers chapter 12, verse 10. Verse 10. When you lend your neighbor anything, you shall not go into his house to get his pledge, security deposit. You shall stand outside, and the man to whom you lend shall bring the pledge out to you. Verse 12. If a man is poor, you shall not keep his pledge overnight, or it says pledge overnight. A poor man might have only an outer garment to offer as a pledge of repayment. All right, verse 13. You shall certainly restore the pledge, security deposit, to him at sunset, so that he may sleep in his garment and bless you. And it will be credited to you as righteousness, right standing before the Lord your God. You shall not take advantage of a hired servant who is poor and needy. Whether he is one of your countrymen or one of the strangers, resident aliens, or foreigners who is in your land inside your cities. Verse 15. You shall give him his wages on the day that he earns them before the sun sets, for he is poor and is counting on it, so that he does not cry out to the Lord against you, and it becomes a sin for you. Where it says counting on it. Other literature says sets his heart. Verse 16. The fathers shall not be put to death for the sins of their children, nor shall the children be put to death for their fathers. Only for his own sin shall anyone be put to death. You shall not pervert the justice due a stranger or an orphan, nor seize, impound a widow's garment as security for a loan. But you shall remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you from there. Therefore I am commanding you to do this thing. When you reap your harvest in your field and have forgotten a sheaf, a grain in the field, you shall not go back to get it. It shall be for the stranger, for the orphan, or for the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. Where it says, when you reap your harvest. So the divine laws for harvesting give a clear picture of how Israel was to provide for the feeding of the poor and destitute. In addition to charitable contributions, which were required or expected of anyone who was able, the owner of a field or farm was entitled to everything he could harvest with a reasonable effort. God reserved any leftovers for the poor, who for their part had to put in their own efforts to glean the fields. These laws are examples of charity and cooperation with fairness and the work ethics. All right, verse 20. When you beat the olives off of your olive tree, do not search through the branches again. Whatever is left shall be for the stranger, for the orphan, and for the widow. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you shall not glean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, for the orphan, and for the widow. You shall thoughtfully remember the fact that you were a slave in the land of Egypt. Therefore I am commanding you to do this thing.